Hey guys, and welcome back to another Cultured Boys discussion. I'm Pepe, and I'm joined by Nathan. And today we're going to be discussing our favorite games on Nintendo handhelds. How are you doing, Nathan?
I'm good, mate. I'm especially good because I'm happy to announce. I hope this is cool with you, by the way. I'm happy to announce we're finally on podcast platforms. At least some of them.
Hey!
We're on Spotify. We're on Google Podcasts. I'm working on getting us on Apple Podcasts, but that's a whole thing. So go check us out, guys. It's cool.
Yeah, so if you don't like having your YouTube on the background while watching our videos, just check us out on Spotify. Put us in your pocket so you can just listen to our voices going monotonously in your ear. And yeah.
Also, I do have one more thing to mention.
Yes.
This is the one episode where the Cultured Boys will sound a little worse than normal. We're both dying in some sort of way, so it's nothing serious. But you'll notice if you've listened to other episodes and now you listen to this one, you're like, why do they sound different?
Yeah. It really disclaimer. It's nothing serious. We're just a little bit rough.
Yeah. It's nothing at all to worry about.
Yeah.
We're both being safe.
Exactly. But anyway, Nathan, favorite games on Nintendo handhelds. Do you want to kick it off, or shall I?
I can kick it off if you want.
Go on, man. I'll let you go for it then.
Right, so kicking it off with the original Game Boy, we classified from the original all the way to Game Boy Color, because let's face it, it's pretty much all the same. That's where it was all like this. It was the same cartridge. It all worked, you know. So my game is Pokemon Yellow.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure I've talked about it before that I had 2 copies of Pokemon Yellow because my cousins had a copy and I played it a year before it came out over here.
Mm-hmm.
And then I loved it so much, but didn't have my own Game Boy Color or Game Boy, that my parents got me one and Pokemon Yellow. And then my cousins didn't want their copy, so I just took it. And that's why I have 2, and that's why it's my favorite of all time.
Hey, that's right. I mean, you got 2 copies of it. Better than one, I guess. But that's quite funny you said that, because I've put down Pokemon Red and Blue as my one. I've kind of like twinned them in, so like it's all kind of basically Gen 1 Pokemon we're talking about right now then.
Yeah, to be fair, I'm not surprised that we both have it here, because that really was like the game to have.
Yeah, I feel like if anything, that was the game that like kind of got me kind of into gaming a little bit more, you know? Because like I think I had an original Game Boy, but my dad bought it and he played Tetris on it.
Yeah, so did my parents.
So I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I want to play Pokemon because I've seen the TV show or whatever, and there's other bits. And no, I got a copy of Pokemon Blue, and I got a copy of Pokemon Red, but like I didn't play that one as much. And then yeah, like just play this game. Like, obviously didn't know what the hell I was doing on it, because at the time when you're a kid, you don't really care about the type advantages or doing whatever. You just go from point to point.
Oh, God,
I was using my like Bulbasaur, like Ivysaur, Venusaur just to destroy everything. It probably got decked quite a few times, to be fair. And
it's better than when I was playing, because again, Yellow was the first one I ever played, and then I got a copy of Red.
Yeah.
And like, so I went backwards, and I was so confused that why I didn't have a Pikachu and why I could only have one of the starters.
Yeah, because you get all 3, couldn't you? Yeah.
Yeah, because in Yellow, if you play long enough, you get all 3. So I was like, well, how do I get the others? Like, I don't understand. How do I get the other ones? And then, you know, you go and talk to your friends at school and whatever, and they're like, oh, you need a link cable and you need another game. And it's like, why? In my other game, I didn't. What do I have to do in this one?
It's like the typical step back. Like, you know, like it's like sort of like playing newer games and going back to them. Like, it's always like the nostalgia. Like, for me anyway, there's like a nostalgia factor to sort of certain older games. When you go back to them, like, this is a lot worse than the newer ones. Like, it's all good having these memories or whatever. I know it's a kind of different subject to like what you were talking about, but like it's always like going back to something that's worse than what you're actually playing before. It's
well, I mean, also like as a kid, you had no idea about like, oh, Yellow is like the 3rd version, like, oh, for lack of a better description, the complete version. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
The more complete version. And you know, when you're like, I have no concept of why there's 3 of them as a 7-year-old. Do you know what I mean? You're just like, oh, I don't know, but I want them.
So, well, this one just comes with a Pikachu. That was like one of the main things that was the main selling point of that. It's like, oh, you can talk to Pikachu basically, and it has like a few Pokemon that you might not have had in the previous one. But like, if I'm correct, isn't like Pokemon Yellow, even though it is like the definitive one, you can't catch every single Pokemon in it though.
No, you can't. you still can't.
You can't. That's you still like usually like with the modern games, like if there's the third game in the series, you can like sort of like you can kind of catch the exclusive Pokemon that are on each one. Like for Emerald, for example, you can catch like Lotads and Seedots.
Yes, and I believe you can get Survivors and Zangooses.
Yeah, but like with Yellow, that was like, nah, you still gotta go back to the older games to get some of these Pokemon.
Well, you know, they hadn't figured it out yet.
Yeah, they really haven't.
All they figured out was, hey, this cartoon we put out is like going gangbusters. Let's make a game that lets the kids be more like the stupid kid in the show.
Yeah, and there's like additions like Team Rocket as well. There was that, and then updated sprites. But I like the OG sprites, man, like from Red and Blue, the ones that look like all fucky before the.
They're weird.
Some of them look so strange because Ekans is literally like, even though it is just a snake anyway, it looks even more like a snake in the sprites, but it like kind of looks like a weird like sock puppet snake.
Yeah, it did. Or like, do you remember Pidgey looked like the most like realistic bird?
It
at the time when it was so creepy because it literally looked like you were just like, I caught this bird in a tree outside. You know, like in real life, you just picked up a bird and was like, "This is mine now. Fight on my behalf."
It was literally just a fat pigeon. Like he just found this fat pigeon in the wild. And like, yeah, okay, come on, take it.
Isn't it? Oh, so I don't like those original sprites, man. They're creepy.
Yeah, all the heads are like weirdly bigger as well. Like sort of like they're weirdly like really like disproportionate in some ways.
I think it was probably because it was like a chibi thing, you know?
Yeah.
To fit on the screen and compress for cartridge size and memory and whatever. But either way, they're weird. I know for sure we've shown that Golbat before. God damn.
I love that Golbat, man. Yeah, he's so creepy. And like sort of the Geodude as well. Like, I always thought that the Geodude in Pokemon Red and Blue looked like it had a quiff.
Yeah, like it had some sort of hairstyle.
Yeah, it was like some weird thing there. But
I always thought it was more like a weird sort of like pompadour rather than a quiff.
Yeah. No, that's it. That's the vibe, isn't it? Maybe they did kind of like go for that sort of thing. Like they wanted to make it more like a delinquent rock or something.
I don't know. I'm just now thinking of a rock de Fonz. It's just like, hey, forget about it.
Rock de Okay, like both thumbs. He's got two hands. He can do the thumb thing.
Yeah, he could. Just floating around in the cave going, forget about
it. Jesus Christ. Welcome to the Pokemon world. We have rock fonts. That's forget like the Professor Oak's intro where he's like introducing bits. You just have like, hey, because he always has the Pokemon beside him, don't he?
Yeah.
Just hey, welcome to the Pokemon world. Here's rock fonts. Hey.
Yeah, and then it like flies up, bashes the jukebox, you know, music comes up.
Jesus Christ. Oh wow. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. But like again, going back to like Pokemon Red and Blue, it's a sick game series. I think the fact that both of us have chosen it, probably because we were kids at the time, it is major nostalgia factor. But when they came out again, in I think it's 2016, they actually re-released the games on 3DS Virtual Console.
I did get it.
Yeah, I got all three.
Oh, I only got yellow because you know, favorite.
Well, that's the thing. I did get yellow at the start, and I think I got like an eShop voucher or something from somewhere. I can't remember where. And I was like, okay, I'll just get the other two, just because I can like add to my digital collection on my 3DS.
Fair enough.
But at that point, I hadn't played Pokemon Yellow since I was a kid, though. So like playing that through and then realizing how fucking OP Ghost Pokemon were.
Yeah.
And like that sort of thing. Like that was cool. Because obviously like I forgot there's only 3 types of Ghost Pokemon. And they OP, man. They're Psychic and Ghost Pokemon just like fucking savage.
Yeah, well, I mean, because there's like barely any of them.
Yeah. No, that was good though.
But I mean, like, I remember playing the re-release of Pokemon Yellow on the 3DS, and I remember specifically being like, "I am doing this properly this time. I'm not going to do the same thing I did when I was a kid on both of those cartridges." I don't know why on both games as a kid I decided my team needed consisted mostly of fire Pokemon.
Yeah. This is this your two Flareons.
Yeah. But here's the thing,
Uh,
like one cartridge had two Flareons, one had a Flareon and a Charizard. And you know when you're like, now with my adult brain and all my knowledge on Pokemon, I'm like, that's so inefficient. Why?
Oh man, the sad thing looking back at those games now is that I had like I leveled my Pokemon up to like level 100 just because I could, and I had like Zapdos on my team. I had like a right, was it right? I can't remember your evolution. I always forget. What
Rhydon.
Rhydon? It is Rhydon. Isn't it? Yeah, I had a Rhydon. Like I had some like other cool Pokemon, and then I remember when Gold and Silver came out. They're like, oh, you can transfer your Pokemon over to the new game. So getting Pokemon Silver day one, I was like, oh, cool, I'm going to have my Venusaur there, he's level 100, it's going to be sick. And then transferred it over, and I was like, these motherfuckers ain't listening to me. I ain't got the badges to it. And I was like, fuck this, I'm turning it off. Forgot to save.
Oh no.
Literally, like, I turned the game off without saving. And the motherfuckers disappeared.
Oh,
the years of like leveling up my Venusaur to level 100, like without anything, like just literally like just training it up in the wild. It took ages, and it just disappeared. As a kid, I didn't even like get mad about it because I was like, I did this, and I have to accept my consequences. This is like little Pepe just thinking, well, okay, I fucked up.
That's very mature of you as a kid, because God knows I would have been screaming and raising hell like, no! No!
Oh. I mean, internally, Nathan, that was the vibe, but like I couldn't get mad at it because I only had myself to blame. And what else can I do? I wasn't going to go to anyone and just say like, I fucked up. Like I just silently sat there like, it is what it is.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. Fair enough. Oh man.
Right. But no, yeah, Pokemon Red, Blue, Yellow, like all great games, and understand like probably like I don't know. I don't want to say like there's been so many Pokemon games after it, like they've been amazing. So I'd still say it's like it's good nostalgia. It's a good way to like kick off the series and stuff. Like so.
Yeah, they're great starting games. You know, they set the precedent, and then just everything blew up after that.
Exactly. Cool. So Game Boy Advance. I'm gonna say probably a bit of an out there decision for my Game Boy Advance game, but because it's a Yu-Gi-Oh game for one.
Okay, nothing wrong with that.
And it's not even a mainline Yu-Gi-Oh game.
Wait, are you gonna say like Dungeon Dice Monsters?
It is Dungeon Dice Monsters.
Hey.
Because let's face it, I've had many Yu-Gi-Oh games in the past. I've had them on Game Boy Color, I've had them on Game Boy Advance, DS, like Switch, whatever. Every Yu-Gi-Oh game that I have has never been better than Yu-Gi-Oh Dungeon Dice Monsters. I fucking love that game. It is such a good game.
Okay, I can confirm, because I also had that game as a kid. That was a pretty sick game.
Oh, it is so good. Like the fact that like it had like such a massive like array of like monsters you could summon with the dice, and like some of the, I mean, like there's tournaments and you play against like the most out there characters, like not from just the Yu-Gi-Oh like Duel Monsters series, as everyone knows in the West, like, oh, it's a card game. But then you've got like the original Yu-Gi-Oh series characters in there as well. Like you got like so like some like random shoe seller that appeared in like one chapter of like the old school Yu-Gi-Oh.
Wow.
And you've got like you got a dog at one point. You're like literally playing against a dog, like Dungeon Dice Monsters. It's weird, but it's such a fun game. I spent ages on that trying to collect the dice that I want, like just buy stuff from the shop and that. Like, it's good. It's a great game.
I remember being really bad at that game,
Oh yeah.
and like, so I never got very far. And then I took a bunch of Game Boy games with me on a school trip,
Hmm.
and I lent it out, and it came back to me with a new save file and further than I'd ever seen before.
That's jokes. Oh.
Like that trip, most of my Game Boy games came back with new save files and further than I'd ever seen before in any of these games.
See, that's the best thing in the curse, because if I lent my games out to people and they came back with new save files, I'll be fucking fuming. I'm like, bro, that's my progress. But obviously, as you said, I've made more progress than you have.
Yeah.
So,
And that was the most conflicting thing. I was mad because I was like, my game, my save. But then it's further than I ever got. So it was that meme of, hey, look at this thing I made. I made this. Like, I'm like, well, it's my game, it's my save file now. I got this far. I'm the good guy.
yeah. Look at me, I am the captain now.
Exactly. Like,
yeah, I think I've told this to people before, like who actually play Yu-Gi-Oh! And they're like, why have you chosen this game as your favorite Yu-Gi-Oh! Game? I'm like, I just like this, man. It's a good one. Like, it's
look, the game was the best option, especially because at that time, that was when like Dungeon Dice Monsters was in the anime, right? And they released the physical game, which was an actual board game, but it was the fucking money grubbiest thing ever because you had to buy figurines, you had to buy the dice, you had to buy the game itself, you had to buy the little pathways
yeah.
that go on the board. Like, you had to buy everything almost separately. So it was actually just cheaper to buy this Game Boy game and probably a Game Boy Advance if you didn't have one, and then just play it like that. Because the board game, I actually don't know anyone who had it. I collect the little figurines because they look cool and they were cheap, so it was quite easy to convince parents to buy it.
Nathan, I had that board game. I actually had the board game because obviously I played the Game Boy game, so I'm like, I must have the actual board game now. And you're right. It is the most money grabbiest thing because you have like this base set of like, you got like your dice or whatever. You've got your like pathways, your monsters, but it only comes with a set amount of monsters. Only comes with a set amount of pathways. And the problem is when you buy little booster packs with like the you get extra monster, little extra figurines and cards and stuff. They don't come with extra pathways though. So like you get all this extra stuff and like, oh wait, where's the pathways? No, that you have to like if you just end up like with no pathways left, that's it. That's the end of the game. You can't summon no more stuff, and it's just like it's crap. I was absolutely fuming as a kid because I had this Game Boy game which is so good, and then this board game which just is such a letdown. I was absolutely good.
I know, like because I asked for both for Christmas. I got the game, and I didn't realize till I was much older why like the physical board game just didn't sell well at all. And it is literally because back then the actual board itself must have, or the base set must have cost like, I don't know, 30 quid, let's say.
Yeah, probably.
Right? Because everything averaged about 30 quid back then. And then everything else is probably like an extra £5 to £10 top up. Right? Except for the monster figurines, which, depending on the monster, you could get all the way down to like £2. Like the cool ones were like £5. And then you could find some in like a bargain bin for like £1 or £2.
Oh, man, I think it's just like it's not worth it. I think it's plus like people know Yu-Gi-Oh for Yu-Gi-Oh, like the card game. And it had a lot going up against it to try and like release this game and try and be a success. It was never going to be a success. I think it was literally just a cash grab. Like, hey, here's a thing that's available to you. We're not going to support it for much longer, but there you go. Just have it, buy it and then just never play it again. But yeah, like the Dungeon Dice Monsters on Game Boy Advance, by far my favorite Game Boy Advance game. Put so many hours into it. I do pick up occasionally now as well. Like I do like pick up like sometimes the save file's gone or whatever, so I start again. But like I've just like I remember like setting up like my deck where it has like a certain amount of level 2 monsters, level 3 monsters. Like I've got like organization and everything of what monsters I want. But yeah, it's a great game. I'd highly recommend it if you ever do want to pick up a Game Boy Advance game.
Cool. So my Game Boy Advance game is one of the later ones.
Hmm.
It's came out quite close to the end of the Game Boy Advance's life cycle.
Hmm.
Like the DSs and that were already out by this point. But my game is Mega Man Battle Network 5. Specifically because I've even though I played all the other ones, 5 was the first one I actually physically owned and completed. Like I played the other ones at like family's house or friends' house, like so I never owned it. I just sort of played wherever they were at the time. But Battle Network 5 is my favorite because that's the one that's okay, it had like a turn system as in like, oh, here's the mission, you need to complete it within so many turns. But it was really cool because you weren't just Mega Man, right? You could also use what was called Cross Soul,
Okay.
and that's when Mega Man took on the appearance and abilities of another Net Navi.
Okay. Well, like a fusion sort of thing, or is it like?
Yeah, literally like fusion. It was super
Okay.
cool. Specifically, I played the Kernel version because there was two versions. You could be, it was Mega Man Battle Network 5 Kernel or Proto Man. I've played both, but I find that the Proto Man Net Navis on the team aren't as good. Like the coolest person is Proto Man because it's Proto Man. He's got a fucking huge sword for one of his arms.
Yeah.
But like on Proto Man's side, I just thought it was kind of lame because it was like, oh, it's like Magnet Man and Search Man and whatever, and I was like, yeah, they're not as cool as Tomahawk Man or Night Man or Shadow Man. You know what I mean? Like,
Like so, like with like when you're saying that with the fusion thing, was it quite a wide range of different fusion like things you can do?
so you could fuse with the guys on your team, like, and if I remember correctly, by the end, it was about 4 or 5 different cross souls. There was a secret one as well, like a post game kind of thing. You could get, and it's this kind of thing isn't like new for Mega Man Battle Network because at the time he had like the different like element crossovers, like element fusions. But this was like the first time you saw him actually like physically take on the abilities of another Net Navi. Because normally in the Mega Man Battle Network series, you would get a battle chip and it would have the data of another Net Navi and they would do an attack.
Hmm.
But that was like a copy of their data. So they would physically appear once you use that chip, do an attack, disappear. But that was it. You're still just normal Mega Man. This time though, for like 5 turns or whatever, you are actually Mega Man with that power set.
Okay.
So yeah, it was really cool because it would be like, normally it's Mega Man, he's got his Mega Buster, but when you're Colonel, like now you've got when you're Colonel Cross Soul, now you got a sword instead of your Mega Buster, or if you're a Nightman Cross Soul, you've got a fucking like you've got what's it, a fucking mace arm, or Tomahawk Man, you actually throw tomahawks that do a shit ton of damage. Like it was really cool.
Okay. So like it's like was it like quite a successful one this one? Because like I basically have zero knowledge on Mega Man.
I don't actually know. I think that one did pretty well, but towards the end of Battle Network, it it sort of died out quite a lot because there's actually one after this, and it's the last Battle Network game, Battle Network 6. But we didn't actually. I don't think we actually properly got it over here. I had to like import one.
Oh really?
Battle Network 5 is the last one I remember actually physically seeing in game stores. Like there was also a DS version of Battle Network 5 where you could it was basically the two games, Colonel and Proto Man, just smashed into one game, but you could pick from the start which one you wanted to,
Okay, yeah.
like which one you wanted to be on. But yeah,
Was that like a preferable way to play it though? Like I know you said like this is your favorite Game Boy Advance game even. But like is would you rather play the DS version instead of the Game Boy Advance version if you had the choice?
I guess nowadays just the DS version, just because it's the most modern console, because it's kind of
Yeah.
it's hard to play on a Game Boy Advance, because they're so small.
Yeah.
Whereas at least the DS is a tiny bit bigger. It's not the best. Actually, like I can't remember where they got to on the Wii U re-releases, but on the Wii U they were re-releasing the Mega Man Battle Network series like in the eShop. I think it only went to 4 though.
Okay, so not that's a shame. No, I didn't get that far. But...
Yeah. So I would probably say if you can get the DS version, because again, it's no different. It literally isn't any different. It's the same two games. It's just on the DS.
That's fair, yeah.
It's still the 2D sprites. It's still the same, exact same game, just on the DS.
I mean, as a fan, you can still pick that up right now. I mean, like, obviously it's DS, but if you still have your 3DS lying about, you can just pick that up and then play it. Really, as you said, it's more accessible.
Yeah, and I do recommend it. I love this. Like this franchise. This is what got me into Mega Man.
Just a quick question: are you good at like any of the like Mega Man side scroller games at all, like the original Mega Man games?
Oh God, no! I'm terrible.
Okay,
It's because they're like, it's because they're platformers. I'm terrible at platformers.
yeah, I was about to say, I know that feeling. That's it. Okay, fair enough. Man.
All right. So moving on to the DS.
Mm-hmm.
Who wants to go first?
I went first on Game Boy Advance. You can go first on this one. Then.
Okay. So for the DS, my favorite game is a game I've definitely spoken about before. I'm pretty sure we have a whole episode about this subject. It's Dragon Ball Attack of the Saiyans. And I've said this many a time to many people. This is my favorite DS game because it's a turn-based RPG. So almost like Final Fantasy-esque, but it's just Dragon Ball. And it only goes as far as the Saiyan saga because I think they were meant to be multiple games in the series, like so this one was Attack of the Saiyans and it was probably meant to be like something Frieza, something Cell, something Boo, you know what I mean? But this game was really cool. The sprite work was awesome. You got to see like loads of the Dragon World and you got to see loads of like the side characters and stuff.
I guess like certain characters like wasn't it like Yamcha and Tiena in this sort of thing? Are they playable?
Yeah.
Yeah, and like do they
Yeah, you can add them on your team and there's combo moves between different like characters and all sorts. Like you basically play as most of the Dragon team.
Yeah, that's right. Like, I think like I remember this because it was around. It came out like 2011 for us, I think.
Yeah.
And that was like around the time that Kai was being released as well, because I think that was a massive thing at the time. So it probably went in their favor. They're like, oh yeah, you can watch like all the new Dragon Ball episodes just like remastered, and here's Attack of the Saiyans to go in line with it.
Yeah, play this game.
Yeah.
That was really awesome, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember there we talked about this before. It's a shame that it didn't get any follow-ups or whatever, but like
yeah, I was waiting for a sequel.
Wasn't Brody in this as well?
Yeah,
right?
he was Secret Boss.
Secret Boss Brody, yeah, that's spoiler alert. But no, I think it's one of those games like I don't think I had it, but I didn't put the effort into it, you know what I mean? I think there was other games at the time that I was more focused on. I think I might have been really focused on Dragon Quest 9 at the time.
Makes sense.
And I think, I was playing one RPG and then going to another was just like, I don't think I have the effort to do it.
Well, you also have to think it's not just any two RPGs, both Toriyama art.
Yeah.
But one is 3D and one was 2D pixel sprites. I could see why you probably didn't want to go back and like play more Attack of the Saiyans. I get that. But whenever I think DS, this is the game I think. I've played it so much.
Yeah.
And like it used to be the game that I would just go back to. I would have done everything, like 100% of the game, and I'd still go back just to see the artwork, to run around and fight things, like just because I could.
I'm kind of curious of like how deep like the game is. How like to complete the game. How long roughly do you think it takes to like actually do? Because obviously, granted, it's a quite an open question because it depends on how much you grind, how many side quests you do, etc. But like, how long does it take to actually finish the story on this thing?
It's been quite a while. I would say it's a pretty standard RPG affair, so probably like 30 hours ish.
That's fair, yeah.
Because again, even though it only goes to the earliest part of Dragon Ball Z story, it's still like pretty it's pretty heavy on the RPG. So yeah, I'd say standard 30-ish hours.
Okay, fair. That's still decent, but yeah, it's as you said, like it's literally like up to Vegeta going crazy.
Yeah.
And that, like to fit that in the 30 hours is like that's quite a feat. It must be a lot of content in that to fill up that.
I mean, there is, because there's a lot of like side quests and stuff as well. And they try to fill in some of the gaps, where they're like, oh, in the show, it'd just be like, oh, and they trained for X amount of time. Well, like, obviously, it's a game. So, like, you do actually go off and do some side missions and train and fight people and mini bosses and stuff. Like, I thought it was a fair amount of content considering.
Yeah. Well, I would say, hey, hopefully there's a sequel coming or whatever, but it's been about 10 years, so I wouldn't get my hopes up.
I definitely wouldn't, but I'd love one.
One day, Nathan. No. Well, make your own. make your own follow up. Like, just hope that
It would have the worst artwork ever.
Oh my god, please. Just like a really derpy Goku, like, hey, bring it on, Ginyu Force. Oh my god, you can do like all derpy Ginyu Force as well.
I could do a bunch of derpy things, but I'm not going to.
Oh, that's great.
So, what is your favorite DS game, Pepe?
My favorite DS game, I don't think I've actually talked about this properly on the channel before. I think it may have come up in passing, but my favorite DS game is Jump Superstars on the DS. For those of you who don't know, it's basically one of the sort of, I would say more modern, but it came out like bloody 15 years ago. It's a jump crossover game with like, your standard Goku, Luffy, Naruto, like all these different series. I think there's loads of them, and it's like a sort of smash.
Oh, there's so many in there.
Yeah, it's like a Smash Bros-esque fighter, where obviously it's health bars and like you can knock people off the arena, you can summon support characters, but like the great premise of it is that like on the DS you have the top screen where your basically the main fighting goes on, but your bottom screen is basically like a massive like a manga panel page sort of thing. So like you have your fighters are like more than 4 blocks. And your support characters are 3 or less, and then you have like individual like blocks as well. And like it basically you can set up your team how you want, and it looks like there's a little manga panel on the bottom screen, and like you use the bottom screen to switch characters and stuff, like use your supports, and it's just a really cool game. Like it's 1 to 4 players as well. So like I remember like I could bring this into school and like play with my mates, even though they didn't have the game. It's still, the DS had that like wireless feature where you can still hook up and play with people anyway.
Download play or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, and like, it was so good. It was one of those games. It was a shame it never came out in the West, but at the time I don't think there was an appetite for it, because I think the only 2 series at the time that were like being shown on TV was probably.
Must have been Naruto, right?
It was Dragon Ball and Yu-Gi-Oh.
Okay.
Like, because this game came out before Naruto hit, well, UK audiences anyway. I think Naruto and One Piece were in the process of getting shipped over to the West. I think Yu Yu Hakusho was here though. That's one that like came over a bit. So maybe like 3. But but this game, like I remember playing. I found out about this game through a magazine. Remember Nintendo official magazine?
Yeah.
Like they did a whole segment of Japanese games, and I was just like reading through. I was like, "Wait, hold on a second. And I saw their article, and I was like, "There's Goku in this game. That looks cool." But then he's fighting Yugi from Yu-Gi-Oh! What the hell is this? Like, I didn't really care much about the other characters, but I saw these 2, and I was like, "Bloody hell, that's well cool. What is this game?" And then what was it? Then you saw like I think at that point more like Naruto and One Piece came out on our TV, and I was like, God, these are characters that are in this game that I really want. So I ended up importing it, and literally like this game, honestly, Nathan, has opened me has shown me different series I don't think I would have ever checked out otherwise. You know what I mean?
Well, especially back then, like
because there's stuff like I knew about Death Note from it. I knew about Hitman Reborn, The Grey Man, Hunter x Hunter, Bobobo. Like I found like all these series from this game.
Nice.
Like I found that that's how I learned about all these, and it probably helped me just get into all the manga and anime that I know and love today. But even so, like despite that, like the game is just so good. I can't like praise this game enough. There's a sequel called Jump Ultimate Stars, which is a bit more fleshed out, and has it has like a few extra tweaks in it, like new stages, new characters.
I think Ultimate Stars is the one I played.
Ultimate Stars is like arguably out of the two, Ultimate Stars is better. But I think what really gives me nostalgia is Superstars because like I think just playing this game and just remembering going back to like finding all these things and the map's cool as well. Like gives you little side quests, like and you unlock characters through that, and like you have to find panels and like it's like this game I couldn't praise it enough. It's a shame that like I don't think many people know about because when you think jump crossover games at this point, you think of Jump Force. And we talked about that before. And I'd say like out of all the jump games, I think Jump Superstars is probably like just easily one of my favorites. And I've put like so many hours into it. I'd love to see a remake. Like I'd love to see it come back if it ever did. I don't think they would because it was very unique for the DS and like the whole like touchscreen thing was essential for it. If they managed to find a way for it, that'd be cool. But
I mean, they've figured out stuff like that before. I don't see why they couldn't.
Yeah.
I mean, you probably just have to put a lot of things as a separate interface.
Yeah, like probably like you have to like set up your panels beforehand or something, and like use the triggers as like your summoning for supports and stuff like that. Like there'd be ways around it. I mean, like to be fair, what was it? J Stars kind of like incorporate that a little bit. It was more team. It was obviously team based rather than like 4v4. But like they managed to do the support thing. Like they took out the manga panel aspect, but it's still for like a 3D game. I quite enjoyed it. Not many other people did, I don't think. But like I feel like the range of the characters that you had in this game, like it wasn't even just battle characters like from manga. Yeah. It was like sort of like rom-com characters. There was like sort of sports manga characters. And like it was just an all-round great game to be like a manga fan, basically.
I can agree to that. I do remember playing again. I think it was Ultimate Stars back in school, and like that game was so fun. I do remember only really picking like coincidentally all my favorite characters happened to be from battle mangas. So like I'd end up being like Kenshiro and Goku and like Seiya from Saint Seiya and whatever, like all the actual like battle characters. But it was cool, it was fun.
No, you're right though. That's the great thing about it though, because you could create like own little your touchscreen, your team with all your favorite like characters. Because I remember I had like Yugi, Gintoki from Gintama, Sanji, and Kakashi on my team. Granted, they'd all be like level 4 like battle characters, so they wouldn't have the most health. Whereas I think like in Ultimate Stars it goes up to 8, where like it's just basic. It takes up like pretty much your whole panel.
Yeah, I think I had that. I don't think I had support characters.
Yeah, yeah. Like it would just be like one support character is all it would be, because I think you had to have one minimum. But if you just wanted to chuck like like a two coma one or whatever, just chuck him there, put Goku in, and you're fine.
That sounds like me.
Yeah. But oh man, I'm not like I cannot say my praise enough for this game. And if you love the jump crossover games, check it out. Like if you can, like granted it's like it's not available in the West, but I don't know, import it. Check some gameplay video out of it or whatever. Check the trailers.
Yeah, I would agree with Pepe that it's probably the best like jump crossover game.
I think it's definitely the one with the most content anyway. The amount of support characters in that and battle characters and all sorts, like it's great.
So, moving on to the last, because Nintendo went and confused it all and made a hybrid console. So
right, okay, cool. Shall I say my 3DS game then?
Yeah, go ahead.
Again, one game that we've definitely mentioned on this channel before. I think it's no surprise to you, Nathan. It's the one I've put the most hours into on the 3DS. It's Fire Emblem Awakening.
Yep.
Because like honestly, we've talked about this in what was it? Our top 5 gaming franchises.
Yes, our first ever episode.
And Fire Emblem took number 2. And Fire Emblem took number 2 because of Awakening. and like that is like Awakening started it all for me. Like obviously like the Fire Emblem character in Smash Bros before, but like I checked out this game because I had a demo on the 3DS and I was like, this game's awesome. Went to the store, picked up the same day, and played 300 hours of it. But
This boy liked that game.
I really like that game. I like the other games in the franchise as well, but Fire Emblem Awakening just hit different. Like it was a good one. Like the amount of characters, the story in it was cool. Yeah, man. Like I don't know how much else I could say in this. I haven't said in the previous episode, but like I might as well just like at this point compare it to the other 3DS games that were on the system. Like because you had Fates at the time.
Yeah, I never played any of those.
You know, you didn't play Fates. Fates is good. People don't like it that much. I think probably because of that story and the fact that you had to buy all like a DLC pretty much to get the full like true ending. I mean, I had like a hybrid copy of it. It's like all three on one cartridge. So I was one of the lucky ones, but that was a special edition. You'd have to buy the special edition to actually understand everything, which kind of sucked. And it was kind of a dick move, and I can understand that. I liked it regardless. I still thought it was a good game. And then there was
the remake, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Fire Emblem Echoes Shadows of Valentia, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I'm sure you're correct because you're the Fire Emblem guy. So
yeah, that was a good game. I think like it went back to original Fire Emblem. Like obviously it still kept the casual thing. You can still keep your characters alive in it, but like it took out the whole waifu simulator thing, but added some other mechanics.
Husbando simulator.
Exactly. Yeah, you get like marry whoever you want. Like that's it's one of the ones that like it's one of the things I was like, that's a cool mechanic in Fire Emblem. Not one that I'm like, oh my god, it's a make or break deal, but it was fun. Like just getting pairings and stuff. Because like it was a good game. I did enjoy Echoes, but I didn't complete it. I think I got like about like 75% of the way through and then just dropped it because it was late in the 3DS's life cycle as well, from what I remember. Because I think it came out just before the Switch, I think.
Yeah.
Or like around the Switch's life cycle. I mean, obviously, like there wasn't much games on the Switch at the start anyway, like, apart from like Breath of the Wild, which I didn't even pick up until like last week.
Fucking hell, still can't believe you.
But yeah, like overall, Fire Emblem Awakening is like the best one for me. Like it still is like my favorite Fire Emblem game. But yeah, that's my favorite 3DS one.
Cool. Well then, here it comes. Right.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite 3DS game is a game that I don't even think most people have played, but you should, because it turns out it's a pretty good spin-off Dragon Ball game.
Mm-hmm.
Dragon Ball Fusions.
Oh, I love this game. This game's sick.
Dragon Ball Fusions is a surprise hit. I will tell you that. No one expected anything from this game, right? And at first it was kind of like, oh, that's kind of strange, you know, like almost everyone confused. And the concept was weird, but you play it and it's like, oh, actually, this game is sick.
It's a really good game. I think it's just like, it's your like if you're just a Dragon Ball fan, you're looking for more content, and it gives you content you'd never see in the show at all.
Yeah, it literally comes across like fan fiction because it's like, oh, and then Goku fused with this guy and that person and this person, and then they did a 5-way fusion and turned into this ultimate, and you're like, what the fuck are you talking about? You're insane, but like that's what this game is.
It was absolutely insane. Like,
yeah, like everybody crosses over into this fusion tournament that takes place in some messed up space-time timey-wimey stuff. The most annoying part of that game is that like to unlock all the characters you need to like go into these like rifts, but it's RNG and like really heavy RNG for some of the good characters. So like I never actually 100% in that game because like they also annoyingly they split characters into different transformations. So it's like Goku, Super Saiyan Goku, Super Saiyan 2 Goku. So like you had to go, and besides that though, it's a really fucking cool game though. Like the combat's kind of simple, but like it kind of adds to it at the same time, you know? Like
yeah, it's like it's one of those ones. It's not too hard to pick up from what I remember. It's quite funny that like we're talking about this, and I was like, "Oh, this game is sick," but I can like I absolutely remember all the fusion stuff. I remember all about that, and now I'm just trying to remember how the game actually played, and I'm drawing a blank right
Okay, so you two teams line
now.
up. There's like an arena, a big old circle,
Mm.
and each character's move, like turn, you can move, and you basically, if you attack, there's a little mini game, and you want to aim behind the character you're attacking.
Mm.
Otherwise, they can block. You've got all sorts of moves. You've got like your actual attacks, your physicals, your keys, and then you've got like your status stuff. So like you've got paralysis and stuff. Like you've got all sorts of stuff like that, and then you build up a fusion meter, I believe, and then you can fuse. Or some characters can pre-fuse, and then they become one new character.
Yeah.
And you can level that character up until I think the max was level 50. But once they unfused, you had to do that all over again.
Yeah. Oh man, I do. That is kind of flooding back to me now. The thing is, I remember just like playing this game just so much in like 2016. It must have come out, and this is a good game. I think like I totally forgot about it until you mentioned it. Like that is a good experience with this. Like just as a Dragon Ball fan, just seeing all the wacky fusions you can create. Like you think like if like as a Dragon Ball fan, when you watch the series, you go, oh, like Goku and Hercule fusion, that's just so wacky. Why do anyone want that? And then it's like, no, that's like base
Yeah, then
like wackiness. You want to go for the max wackiness. You go for like fusing like random characters together. Like
you want to fuse things like Chaozu and a Cyberman.
yeah, God, yeah.
Like, or you want to go fusing I don't know.
Like you can fuse more than two characters as well, can't you? Isn't that a thing?
Yeah, so in the game, toward, I don't think it's all the time. I think it was past a certain point. You build, like I said, a fusion meter, and then eventually, like as a final attack, like all your characters
That's it. Yeah.
fuse. All five of your characters fuse into this like ultimate form. It only lasts, I don't know, like 30 seconds or something. You got to try and do as much damage as possible, and then they do like a finishing attack, and it's not quite a one-hit kill, but you pretty much will destroy everybody.
That's when you're building that stuff. But okay, yeah, I remember that.
But it's a shame because it came out pretty much as the 3DS was dying. Like I think Fusions felt like one of the last games anybody was ever going to get on a 3DS.
Yeah.
But it was also just, I don't feel like it was advertised as much as it should have been, and it was a really good game. Like it was really fun, and it was crazy, and because it was so different to every other Dragon Ball thing, I feel like if you played it, you would remember it.
Oh yeah, like it's one of those ones. I feel it probably was bigger in Japan than it was here. Especially since it came out so late in the life cycle. It was one of those games I didn't actually think would come over here at one point because
I'm surprised you even like got a copy, because I remember you and I were just like hanging out, walked into a random store, and there was just a copy sat on the wall. Like what?
yeah, I remember this. It's one of those ones. It's quite rare to find, I believe. I don't know how easy it is to pick up a copy now.
I don't know.
Like, I don't know how easy it is to pick up any 3DS copy. I think it's like there's a weird like fluctuation of price at the moment. I think like some of them are skyrocketing.
There's a weird thing with game pricing right now.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen all the articles, but go look it up.
Yeah.
All sorts of fucking games are selling for just stupid prices.
Yeah. If I remember, there's like certain points where you'd look at what was it, like Argos or whatever, and you'd find like actually quite decent 3DS games like going for like £2 or stuff like that.
Yeah.
And now it's the complete opposite. Like, oh shit, these things are pricey as hell. But nah, I agree. Like, Fusions is definitely worthy of like a spot like that. It's a good game. I hope they like make another one, but obviously, where can you go from it? Basically, probably adding more super characters in it, I guess.
What? Yeah, the super characters, maybe turn the RNG down.
Yeah, new story. Yeah,
Yeah, you could do a new story because the two characters were like completely new, so you could just make two new characters again. And then chuck it on the Switch.
I'd be like hundreds.
Because Fusions also had a sort of sandbox world element. Like you could fly around. It wasn't just like, oh, mission to mission. You flew around and explored the little areas. It was cool. Like for a 3DS game, it was really good. It wasn't that like polygonal either.
No, it was quite decent. Yeah.
So on the Switch, you can imagine, yeah, like the Switch, like that same sort of stylized, slightly chibi style, but like smoother models. That would be cool.
Yeah, it's definitely something that could happen. I'd love to see it. Like, I'd love to see him do it. Like, I think right now the Switch is going through like porting over all these games that like weren't on, like you wouldn't be able to get before on a Nintendo console. Like you're getting like stuff like Kakarot at the moment, and you're getting like Wii U games.
Yeah.
But like right now the Switch feels like a remake console. So I mean, it kind of goes 50-50 in Fusion's favor. Like, oh, might get a remake of Fusions, which would be sick.
Or a sequel.
Yeah, a sequel, like that'd be cool. I'd love to see any more Fusions content. I'd be well happy for.
I think anyone who's played it is just waiting for more content because it had loads, and the RNG obviously means that replayability is like forever because you're not guaranteed to get what you need. But yeah, like a sequel would be awesome because you've got more characters to add now, and they made up loads of random characters as well. Like it wasn't just characters you knew; they added way more random, like Namekians and Margins and all sorts, androids and everything.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just really cool. I really enjoyed it, and like I think it's one of those ones like you remember back in the day when we were in school, there was like that Dragon Ball AF.
Yeah,
there was like there's all these secret characters like that exist. Obviously, it's all fake. But like if you're ever a fan of like or like researching into Dragon Ball AF or like speculating back in the day, like oh, what if this happened? Like you would love Fusions. Like it's one of those ones like it's there's so much original content in that game. Yeah, like you wouldn't be able to find anywhere else.
It's basically a game that is a whole like it's just a whole like what if.
Yeah. Oh, man, such a good game. Yeah, I get that. Nice. Okay, I think that pretty much wraps things up, I believe.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. In which case, guys, thank you for listening. Join us next time where we push out more geeky content. Probably talking about random stuff.
Please stick to the branding. Cultured
content. Sorry, a whole channel name. I fucked it up. Yeah, more cultured content. Check out more cultured content on Spotify now because we're there on like Google Play or where Google Play. Fuck knows where it is, mate. Nathan, you're the one. You know it is.
Spotify, Google Podcasts, Breaker. We're also got a page on Anchor.fm. We'll include all of these links somewhere. So find us on everything. If you like it, follow it.
Yes. Right, guys. Catch you later. Bye.
Bye.